Now we're going to demonstrate the lock bypassing technique known as bump keys. This is a popular technique. It is not really something I advocate for escape and evasion, and you'll see why in just a few minutes. But basically it's a key that's cut to the full depth of 9999. Now that is a numbering system that locksmiths use to cut keys. As you'll see, this key has different ridges and valleys, different heights, whereas this one is cut to the full depth. And it's just, like I said, it's just something that locksmiths use to cut keys with. So the problem is why I don't advocate bump keys for escape and evasion is because, one, you need a different key for each lock. This is a quick set, this is a Schlage, this is a master lock. Whereas if I carry lock picks, I can pick any type of lock and I don't need special tools for that. Another item that you'll need is some way to hammer onto the key. And this is a bump hammer. These work very well. Some people use screwdrivers, but this is really what you want when you're bump keying. Another technique that people do is they'll put an O-ring on the key. So it jumps the key back out so you can strike it multiple times, giving you multiple times of trying to bypass the lock. But you'll just put it in like a standard key and then pull it out just one section of the key. Just pull it out from one section of where the teeth are. You'll then try to turn the key just a bit in the direction the lock opens, and then just hammer the back. And it may take multiple times. Just that easy. Another form of lock bypassing or lock picking is the lock pick gun. And this was designed back in the 60s for law enforcement personnel where they didn't have time to train every individual police officer on how to pick locks, so they issued them these, and it's quicker to learn and easier to use. Basically, for this technique, you'll need a tension wrench and the lock pick gun. The lock pick gun has a trigger, a striking needle, and an adjustable striking knob here to adjust the trigger strikes. So essentially, you're gonna just squeeze the trigger and the striking needle is gonna strike the pins. And by striking the pins, it's going to jolt the pins into the shear line while you're applying tension with the tension wrench. Now again, this is a great tool for picking locks. Bypassing locks is very quick, doesn't require a lot of skill. However, it makes a lot of noise. For most escape and evasion scenarios, this isn't something you want, but it may be something you want to put in your bug out bag to, if you need to get into an abandoned building or something like that after a collapse situation. It's definitely something good to have as a backup. Maybe your friends get locked out their house and you can go unlock their door for them. But it definitely makes light work of most locks. The Easy Decoder is a thin knife blade device that is designed to open multi-wheel combination locks. What you're going to do is insert into the gap left of the third wheel while depressing the shackle and pushing down on the decoder. The lock will be easily bypassed. It is a covert and portable bypass tool. So now I'm going to demonstrate bypassing a multi-wheel combination lock like the Master Lock 175 and 178. We're going to use the Easy Decoder, which is just a lock bypassing tool. It's knife shaped in a thin piece of metal. And what you're going to do is you're going to find the third wheel going from left to right. On the left-hand side as you're looking at it, closest to the inscription, you're going to insert the easy decoder. And you may have to play with it just a little bit just to get it in. And you want it to go all the way to the rear of the lock. You're then going to press in on the shackle and hold it in, and then push the easy decoder down. And it raises the locking bar inside the lock, essentially bypassing it. I'm going to now demonstrate on a Master Lock 175, and we're just going to do the same thing. You're going to find that sweet spot where you can feed that easy decoder all the way in the back of the lock, and then press the shackle, raising up and opening the lock. Just make sure you put in the top portion of the third multi-wheel on the left-hand side looking at it. We're now going to go over how to bypass a combination lock with a soda can. And basically you're just going to cut out a piece of soda can that's about 1.5 inches wide and 1 inch tall. And you want to make sure you cut and have clean edges so they're not rough, so they'll go smoothly into the lock. But all we're going to do is just cut the can into something that looks like a commercial shim that you typically will buy, but you can manufacture yourself. Then you're going to start off with something that looks like an M. We're now going to round this centerpiece off. So it's a little more rounded than the outside edges. Now we're going to take and fold the top piece down, ensuring not to go past where your crotches of the cuts are. Then fold those tabs up. So now you should have something that looks like this right here. Now take, and we got a simple combination lock here. Make sure it's locked. You're going to take and just round your shim off with the smooth side being the interior portion of the shim. Most combination locks that have printing on the shackle, you'll go in to the left side of the shackle in between the two bars here. Left side as you face it. Then you're going to just slide that shim down into the groove in between the lock and the shackle. You may have to jiggle the shackle somewhat. And after you get done, the shim is pretty much going to be destroyed. So you'll have to, make new ones as you need to open up locks. But it basically just bypasses this cut in the shackle and slides in there and slides in between the tooth of the lock, opening it up. Now there are anti-shim locks on the market like this Master Lock. And you can see the smooth tooth on the one that I just shimmed versus the grooved tooth in the anti-shim. And what that will do is force the shim to bend backwards into the lock and will not allow you to shim it. This should just show you that it's an illusion of security with most locks, as a lot of things we discuss. And definitely purchase anti-shim models because you've seen how easy it is to pop it up with a soda can with a little bit of knowledge. And also, always check the back to make sure the combination wasn't left on if you're you know, trying to bypass the lock.